My name is Daniel Carney Senior. In 1889, I was born in Ireland, the Emerald Isle. I left at 8, and yet I've always felt Ireland at my core, as steady as the ebb and the flow of the sea. Though my birth was 40 years after the potato famine, fears of poverty still haunted Irish minds. Everyone's dream was to come to the bounty of America. My mother, Hannah Carney, used all her savings to bring herself, me, 6 siblings, and a nephew, also named Dan, to the U.S. in 1897. We arrived 2 days after all of Ellis Island had burnt down. It was a terrible disappointment to travel that great distance, only to arrive at a scene of such devastation. We went through thorough examinations and interviews at makeshift outside stations. Once accepted, we traveled immediately by boat to Troy, New York. Surprising though it might sound, at that point, Troy was the 4th wealthiest city in the U.S. This was due to its location near the Hudson River and the Erie Canal, linking to the Great Lakes. Anything that needed to be transported to the Midwest was sent via this route. In 1903, my mother died. The family scattered. I was 14 and moved into a firehouse where I did chores for the men. It was there I decided to become a plumber. It proved a wise choice because with electrical pumps, indoor plumbing had just become a possibility. And suddenly, everyone had to have it. There was more business than I could handle. I married Veronica Kenny and proudly bought us a 2-family house on 5th Avenue, right down the street from the grand St. Patrick's Church. Troy was still full of life, with brothels, speakeasies, and lots of criminals. And I don't mean just the state politicians from Albany. Big-name criminals, like Lakes Diamond, with his wife and girlfriend, hung out in the clubs in Troy. In fact, in 1931, it was after he'd been acquitted in Troy of murdering 2 bootleggers that Lakes himself was murdered. I had 3 children, all of whom I raised in a good, solid Catholic family. I became big in my union, which meant I became big in local politics. I learned early on that we Irish had to fight for our rights, and that there is strength in numbers. Every day I worked hard, physically hard, lugging pipes, tightening valves. Always I reminded myself I had to provide for my family, to propel them farther ahead than I would ever get. I felt that was my main obligation in life. On weekends I drank. To me it seemed like I'd earned the right to relax, which is what the beer, Ballantine Ale, did for me. I'd sit on my stoop, sipping from a 40-ounce bottle, and watch the cars go by. I got my son educated and my 2 daughters married off to educated men. Veronica and I stayed in our home on 5th Avenue. It was the kind of home anyone back in Ireland would have admired. A front stoop, a backyard, doilies on tables, nylon curtains in windows, knickknacks and family photos everywhere. In the 50s, I was in my 60s. Everything seemed to speed up, just as I was slowing down. Fast cars, fast food, loud TVs and record players, everything air-conditioned in the summer and overheated in the winter. I felt a bit lost. Still, each of our children paid attention to us, calling, having us over for Sunday dinners. Large, extravagant spreads of cooked ham with mashed potatoes and vegetables. And of course on Christmas, the entire family gathered, and there would be a cornucopia of presents and food to show how well off the Carneys had become. I was allowed to watch as my 8 grandchildren began their lives. Lives that were even better than the ones my children had. They were more middle class, clean and healthy and full of possessions and possibilities. It made me feel proud that I succeeded in advancing the family. In 1965, with pneumonia and then a heart attack, I passed from this world to the next.